Okay, you hear Tim, you hear Unique New York. All right, yeah, then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Come to the right place. All right, we're live on Instagram. We're live everywhere.
All right, we will get started here in just a few minutes. Give everybody a chance to get in here. Yeah, we do have a special guest tonight.
I don't know if I would call myself special, but
Oh no, I'm talking about after the show.
okay.
After the show, 606 discount cards is going to be running some auctions. Got him. No, we're excited for tonight's episode. As always, make sure you guys drop stuff in chat. We are here to interact with you. So if you have questions for Tim or for us, as always, please drop them in chat.
Let us know.
And then, yes, after tonight's podcast, we'll be going over to hang out with 606. He's going to be running some winner's choice auctions, a little different than his previous formats. Make sure y'all go check it out. Obviously, if you don't see something you like, don't buy it. But if you see something you like, make sure you show up and support.
But I am not for sale.
Yeah, that's true. That is.
And you might like what you see, but I don't know.
Not for sale. Jeterson's in for some puck. Yeah, Thursday we're back at the breaks. Some sneaky good stuff up in the store. Donruss Optic Hobby at 17 a team for some Wemby chasing. That's licensed Wemby. It's in a Spurs jersey. Definitely worth taking a look at. Y'all know we like to keep a little bit of everything, so it's all up there. Pokemon stream on Friday. 4 different products available there. So yeah. All right, let's
For show.
let's give it another 42 seconds, and then we're gonna get started with tonight's show.
You said 44 seconds?
Oh yeah.
I said 42, but
Classic
who's counting?
Clearly Tim wasn't, and neither was I. I was
Wait, are we supposed to be counting down from 42 seconds?
Yeah, 24 now. Your shot clock's ticking, bud.
I still have a 20-second timeout in my back pocket.
Yes.
No, you better relax there, Chris Webber. Oh, sorry, Bone. All right. Random stray Michigan shot. All right, let's get into it. Again, thank you guys for joining. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
Do it. What up? What up? What up? It is the Shake and Break Show episode. What episode is this?
I don't know. Tell me.
Oh man,
79.
It's not 79. It's 76.
Nope.
What is it?
It is episode number 75.
75. I was one off.
AKA the Jack Driscoll episode.
You know, I had a football coach, and he used to tell me this, and it always stuck with me. I never forget it. And he said, "Son, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades."
That's fact,
bro.
That's
and
fact.
so for the rest of my life,
to this day,
to this day,
to this day,
on this day,
on this day, and never again.
Oh man. Well, thank you for joining us. For those of you who don't know, this is Tim, aka Over the Years. We got a slew of accolades. We're going to get into a ton of different topics. But first, before we do, we're going to start off with the Papillon question of the week. And that is Tim. Tim,
What
here
you
we
got?
go.
What's he
I'm
got?
excited. I'm ready. Let
right.
me get geared up.
All right, so you open a door. Okay. The next door you open it, and you're now on an island. Okay.
Okay.
It has everything that you could ever imagine you'd want. Except
Here's the kicker.
there's no people. Okay.
Okay.
What one person, aside from your wife and soon to be child, what one person could you live on that island with, like, for the rest of your life, like until it's over?
Oh my god.
There's a follow up, but we'll start with this.
Have you ever seen the TV show Lioness?
I have not.
Oh my
I haven't
God.
either.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Zoe Saldana's character from Lioness.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Chat, can anyone back him up on this? 'Cause I'll be honest, I don't know if that's a good answer.
Well, she's a badass, right? So
Okay.
like, and she's obviously extremely attractive, and she's bilingual. I feel like those are three good qualities to have in somebody on an island.
Yeah, and if like you never run into anyone, she could technically be like two different people. Like you could, just be like, "Hey, can you just talk to me in Spanish for the next like week and a half, so I can feel like there's someone else here?"
Yeah, I just feel like it's a good thing. I mean, like, so I'm a pretty, hands-on guy. Like I'm not like, Tim the Tool Man, and like I'm not like Bear Grylls or anything, but like I'm kind of like somewhere in between the two. And I feel like if there was something that I couldn't do, like she has CIA training, and like so, she could probably get me through some trenches, and I wouldn't have to worry about, me carrying her. She would more have to worry about her carrying me. So I feel like it's a perfect pick.
Okay. All right. We're seeing in chat, solid pick. Enzo. What about you?
If we're doing movie characters.
Oh yeah, everything. It's whatever.
I feel like we got to go there. I feel like we got to go there now. I'm gonna go with Robin Williams and Jumanji, bro. Alan.
Oh wow. Okay.
My man's ready for everything, bro. I'll be so safe. I'll just post up. I'll do all the work. Be like, Alan, I'm hungry. And just come back with a crocodile. You know what I mean? That's where I'm going. I mean, what I mean? I'm trying to be comfortable with it. I'm what Tim said. I'm on the low end scale of that.
I'm in my mind. I'm just thinking about like, all the things that are going to have to go down on an island. Like,
no, but like the island, like it has everything you need. So like, it's pretty stress free in that way.
Okay. It's stress free until it's not. What happens if something breaks or,
just care packages fall from the sky and take care of it.
Oh man. See, I was thinking, I'm always in the trenches, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about trench life.
Yeah, no. This is luxury island.
Well, I mean, I still win because she's pretty, smoking, and she's bilingual.
I lose this now.
Yeah.
Now I'm just stuck with the dude that got stuck into a board game. Heaven forbid I whip out Monopoly.
I totally skewed Enzo's answer.
Look, I can't change it now, guys. I'm going on vacation with Robin Williams from Jumanji.
So I think I win this one, right? I win this round.
You won, yeah. No, I lost. I lost.
I'm gonna take a
right,
page out of
Bobby.
I'm gonna take a page out of Enzo's book. I'm gonna go with the
Okay,
Monopoly Man.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect, bro. I love that.
Oh god.
Oh, man.
All right, seriously though, my serious answer, Dave Chappelle.
Oh man,
'Cause why
that'd be
not?
good. No, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be a vibe?
That'd be a vibe.
You know he's from around my way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Love Dave Chappelle.
Oh, he's a legend in these streets.
I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. On a serious note, again, we're excluding family
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because obviously my wife, and then after that, I would probably even say my dad, because like I would just be like a bro trip. So I could dig that. I'm gonna go. My wife would murder me if we were stuck on an island. That's fact.
I think we're all in that same boat.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm just trying to think of who'd be like cool to hang out with. I think like Pete Davidson would be a freaking ball to hang out with, because he would just make everything funny, and like even when he was mad, he'd just be talking shit, and like that would make me
Yeah,
laugh.
see, that's why I picked Chappelle. I'd be like, somebody keep me entertained.
Yeah. No, I'm with
The
you.
craziest little things.
But you have everything you need, remember?
Yeah, so like we would like, yeah, I think like there would just be a lot of pot. You know, me and Pete Davidson smoking pot, eating crunch wraps on the couch.
You only called it pot because that's what Pete Davidson calls it. He's already affecting you. You're not even there yet. He's already changing you as a person. I love it.
At this point, you might as well just say reefer.
Reefer.
The devil's lettuce. Dope. Like what? Smack. You're like, I don't think you're doing this right.
You're not. This is different stuff now.
Oh yeah, this is a whole new world out there now. Back in my day.
Back in my day.
All right, before we get into the actual stuff, I do have a bonus question for you, Tim. I told Enzo I was going to ask you this.
Nice.
Root for the Cowboys or never watch football again?
Root for the Cowboys.
I couldn't do it. I think I'd stop
I
watching
had a feeling Tim was not even going to think twice about this.
I think I'd stop watching football.
Like literally in my Redskins gear, root for the Cowboys because I love football so much. Like I am a crazy sports junkie, right? And so like
Yeah.
I love football. Like that's why it's always so weird to me. Like, you know, there's especially like in Twitter world, right? Like you have fan police, and like I have a large following of Redskins and Giants fans because of my other podcast, and so like some of the Giants fans are like, oh, I can't, you know, like there's no way I could root for Philly and this and that, right? And I'm just like, and like they're just preying on the downfall of Saquon Barkley, and it's just like I literally like. How can you not root for Saquon Barkley? Like, and I've been a Jalen Hurts truther since the day he was drafted. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, it's like I'm not like that. It's not like I don't know. Like for me, it's weird. It gets a little weird when people are just like, oh, like
they
you
go
know,
hateful with it.
So
I'll
tell you this. So I'll tell you this. I agree with you for literally every single other team other than Dallas. Like I feel like my makeup as a person would be forever altered rooting for the Dallas Cowboys.
So you never bet on Dallas.
Oh, I've bet on Dallas.
Okay.
Right. But like
So
money's money. But
you
I'm talking like become a fan of, right? Like be
Tim. Get him.
be like actively cheering for them. I can.
I mean, I could do it, but I'd wear a Daryl Green jersey, and you know what I'm saying.
I'm with it.
But I can't give up football. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
I
don't
got
know.
love
Jets fan
football.
rather than give up football. I just wear my Tebow Jets jersey, right, Mike?
My co-host always says it's been rough for him as a Giants fan so he always says bad Giants football is better than no Giants football. So it's like, you know,
that's one thing you can tell yourself for sure to help you get through those dark days.
Oh man.
But I do hate Dallas. So I hate Dallas. I hate Duke basketball. I hate the Yankees. And I hate USC.
Love it.
All right, so I really don't have to ask you anything other than what's the Duke basketball hate?
So I grew up. I'm a Maryland Terps basketball fan. So when I was growing up, I only watched I've been watching Notre Dame football since I was a kid, right? But with basketball, Maryland basketball, it's like Maryland and Georgetown were always big when I was growing up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we had, like right towards Len Bias was first, and then like Joe Smith, and then like you had like the Juan Dixon, the Steve Francis, Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And it just was that was what my mom was a big Maryland Terps basketball fan, and Gary Williams is huge around here. So like I've always watched Maryland basketball, and Maryland Duke is like, it sucks because you have all this conference realignments now. Like those are like when there'll be a point in time, like I tell my kid about Maryland Duke, and they will not understand. I'm sure there's probably people right now that just would never understand like Duke, North Carolina is a big thing too, but like people don't realize like, I mean, the JJ Redick like game where like they were just hounding JJ. Cole Fieldhouse used to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like Maryland basketball is just a different breed. So I absolutely hate Duke basketball.
Okay. No, that's fair. I was just going through the list. I'm like, it's easy to figure out everything else. Like, who doesn't hate the Yankees? Am I right? All right. So obviously, we know a lot about you, and we're gonna learn more tonight. But tell everybody a little bit how you got started on your path to be a full-time reseller, because I'm sure that's an interesting one. So how did we get here, dude?
So basically, I'd say it was probably like 2017-ish, right? So I grew up like going to yard sales, flea markets, and auctions and stuff like that. Both my parents were like collectors / dealers. So like when I was like 9 years old, I was set up at the flea market selling cards. Ooh. Like that was like my thing when I was like 9 years old. And I kind of always been, like I've had an up and down life, like a lot of crazy stuff. And I was married to the streets for a while, right? So like I've always been like a hustler. And so I just was working. I've worked so many different jobs. I worked for the government. I mean, I've done restaurant work, all types of stuff. And so like at the point, my mom got fibromyalgia, and she couldn't move around as good as she used to. So she hit me up and she's like, yo, I got all this stuff in the basement. I need you to take care of it. So I'm like, all right. So I go and I start researching it, and I'm like, all right, let me see where I can sell this. So I started selling first on Etsy, antiques and vintage items. And because at the time they had the best fees. So I wasn't even really selling on eBay. And then I kind of just started like getting more into it. Like I'm a sucker for research and like information and knowledge. Like I'm always trying to learn and stuff like that. Like this is just like one shelf of books. I have an entire bookshelf in the hallway of like research books for like glass and china and stuff like that, and other antiques and primitives. So one thing led to another, and I'm like, yo, there's like a market for this stuff. Like people were buying it. So then like I started looking and doing more research, and I'm like, yo, people go to the thrift stores and they buy this stuff and then they sell it. Like this is crazy. So I started, next thing you know, I had an entire like room full of stuff, and I was just selling on Etsy. And then I started a YouTube channel to try and promote my Etsy store, not realizing that there was an entire world of content creators that do reselling. So then people started reaching out to me and they're like, you're an interesting guy. Like, what's your deal? And so then I kind of got into that whole thing. And then I started eBay. And then one thing led to another. I kept learning more things. And I started learning about vintage clothing. And like, so it got to the point where I was working at the restaurant, I was doing content, and I was doing reselling. The restaurant owner I worked at, he was a really cool dude. And like we had a great relationship. He was like, look, man, he's like, you need to do this like full time. He's like, you can do it. I think you can do it. And I'm like, all right, well, because like I'm like burning the what is it saying? Burning the candle at both ends at midnight.
At both ends, yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm basically doing that. And so like I checked with my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, she was supportive of it. And so like basically like what I did was is for a couple of months, I basically lived off of just the income from reselling. And then from there to see if I could maintain that. And so then I left the job, and literally 3 weeks after I left my restaurant job to start my own business and go full time in reselling, COVID hit. So like,
oh man,
it was a really interesting like time, because like it was good in a sense because the markets for a lot of things went crazy, and you could and there was a lot of money to be made, but it was also much more difficult to source and like just maneuver, especially in the beginning stages of it. So it was that's kind of how it all came about, and I haven't looked back since. It's now 2025. This is literally probably like right around the 5-year anniversary of me going full time.
That's crazy.
That's awesome, man.
Congrats, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, and what do I sell? I literally sell everything. So like I separated it into two different entities. So I have Over the Years, which focuses on, I specialize in antique and vintage glassware, ceramics, and porcelain. But I also do vintage clothing, hats, electronics, like jewelry, like anything that I can buy cheap and sell for more money. Like that's basically what I sell at this point. And then I separated Over the Years Sports to kind of keep the two entities separate and just do all my sports cards through that branch of Over the Years. So and then I that's pretty much everything that I sell, but I do have some like specialties and stuff like that like I'm known in the reselling community, outside of like just being like off the wall, different and crazy, for my glass knowledge. That's what most people know me for in the reselling world outside of like sports.
I was gonna say, dude, I popped into a stream one time and you were selling like miniature glass like things, and I was like, bro, it blew my mind. I sat there for like 10 minutes just watching you wheel and deal these miniature things, and people were bidding on them, man. It was like, I was like, I had no idea this kind of stuff even existed.
Yeah, so like my biggest, I see Mike in the chat asking about depression glass. So like one of my biggest things that like I kind of put me in a map, and like I really made a killing on is, so he asked about depression glass. Depression glass is glass that was made in the Depression era and whatnot, and a lot of it, the green pieces of the depression glass will glow under a black light. So it's called uranium glass. So I went hardcore heavy into uranium glass and Vaseline glass. So basically what it is there's a uranium oxide is mixed in with the glass components in order to give it a hue or tint or color of green or yellow. And because of that, when it's under a black light, it glows. And I saw that as something that would bridge the gap between generations of antique collectors and like the younger generation. And I stockpiled it. Like literally, it was like a nuclear facility, like in my my mom's basement at the time. And it turned out to be really good because it went through the roof and people were going crazy. I probably have sold, I don't know, close to like 5,000 pieces of uranium or Vaseline glass.
Wow.
That's crazy. What was your coolest glass find? because like we've all heard like the sports card stuff.
Ooh, man,
like-
I found some crazy pieces before. Like I've found a couple of like $5-10 pieces that sold for like $300, $400, $500. One time I was in a Russian Orthodox church here in Washington D.C. and I was with my now wife, and I flashed this light on this little shot glass. It was literally like a shot glass, and it glowed so beautiful. And I picked it up, and I was like, 10 cents. So I was like, all right, cool. And I had it for the longest time, and I could not figure out the signature. This is like before Google Lens became like a big thing. I could not figure out the signature, and it was driving me crazy. But in my heart, I knew it was something special. And so I watch Antique Roadshow faithfully. Like we have it on the TV. There's a 24-hour channel, so like it's on all the time. And so I was watching one day on Antique Roadshow, and they were showing this piece, and I was like, "Holy snikes! That's a signature." And so it turned out to be a Gallet piece, which is a famous French glassmaker. His family also made furniture. And so I finally figured out what it was and solved the mystery. And that 10-cent piece of glass ended up selling for like $500. So that was a pretty crazy one.
That's quite.
Then I found a slag glass toothpick holder, and I bought it for like $2. And I have a book here that's literally all glass toothpick holders. And so I went to because I couldn't find anything on it. I went to the book and I found out it was like a really rare piece. And I sold that piece for $465.
Damn.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Pop, we should get into glass, bro.
Yeah, no, for real. Shit, dude.
It's wild.
That's what it sounds like.
It's wild. It's and there's a lot of different. That's the thing too. I think that's why I really like it, and that's why I like learning new sports too, because like there's so much. It's such a vast field of information that like nobody can know everything, and so like for me, like that's what I find super fascinating, and so like over time, like I joke with some of my buddies about using your 5 senses when you're out picking, like, you know, like, so like I got to the point where like you can kind of smell something, you can feel it, you can see it. Like I wouldn't necessarily lick certain things, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can really sense something after doing it for so long. So like, I mean, I travel the country and I go, I mean, when I saw you guys in National, after National ended, I was on the road to Kentucky, and I was in Kentucky for like 7 days. So I was literally on the road for like 2.5 weeks and doing nothing but picking between like that antique stuff and sports cards. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Tim, how do you find like your inventory? Is it all just like yard sales, and are there any like unorthodox places you go to find your inventory that like maybe other people haven't thought of? Or
not really. There's I mean, sometimes you can go to like there's still kind of like thrift stores, but like Habitat for Humanity sometimes like has a section of like that's a thrift store. But no, it's pretty straightforward. There's not really a lot of like that sort of stuff. Like, you know, I did storage units for a while, way back in the day, before storage wars. And then like you used to be able to get like a unit for like $15, bro. And then that show happened, and it was all out.
Yeah, it was over.
It was over. It was over. And then like we used to do this thing, we called it the Craigslist hustle. We had a pickup truck, me and my boys, and we would literally just go on Craigslist free section, and we would ride around and just pick stuff up. And then we bring it back to the storage unit, we clean it all up, take pictures, and then relist it on Craigslist for money. And so like I did that for a while, but like it's pretty straightforward. Like yard sales, flea markets, estate sales, thrift stores, online sourcing. Like the thing is like there's so much stuff out there. Like what you see on like American Pickers, like that stuff is not like real life. Like that's like I'm not going to just roll up on somebody's crib in the middle of Oklahoma and be like, hey bro, I see you got all this stuff in the back barn, you mind if I take a look? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't really happen, but like
I'd watch it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah,
I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's
I'd watch you try.
so I have been approached multiple times to do TV shows for
Oh,
like
nice.
pilots and stuff like that. And like you go through the whole process and like eventually like the like pilot like breaks down before it even gets to like filming stages, like it doesn't get through. But like I've done like they've called and they've wanted like they found me on YouTube and they want like clips of my YouTube and put together a reel, like a highlight reel of all the stuff like me out there and engaging with people. And then like this last one, they like it was this whole concept about going to churches and doing rummage sales with people in the congregation at churches and then using that money to fix something in the church. And so like I had to like film this whole like skit, like it was hilarious.
That's wild.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the rundown on like things that you can find and stuff like that. Like but like the highway sales are the best. Like the 127 is like the holy grail of yard sales, right? So it's the longest yard sale in the world. It stretches from Michigan all the way to Alabama. And it's one road.
Whoa.
It's called the 127.
The 127. All right, I'm looking this up.
Yeah. So like there's you can't do the whole thing, obviously. You basically have to like find a spot to like post up for like a week, which is this last time we went to Kentucky to do it. Before that, we used to be in Tennessee and stuff like that. But like it's crazy. Like it's literally like sunrise to sunset, nonstop picking. Yard sales, flea markets, everything, all on one road, bro. Like it's crazy. It's like the Super Bowl of pickers.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that was a thing. That's very interesting.
It's wild. It's wild. Like the stuff you I find so much crazy stuff. Like it's wild. And like you find cards too. So like we were in Tennessee one time, just like 2 years ago. Me, I'm with a whole bunch of my buddies, but you know Kerry from American Arbitrage Cards, right?
Yep.
Okay, so me and him, we're at this yard sale, and I saw these like vintage baseball cards, 1950s top stuff, right? And the lady had them in like Ziploc bags. I pulled a couple out, and Kerry came in after me, and he pulled a couple out. And you know, a couple of bucks. There's some like Casey Stangles, some like manager cards, but they were in really good condition. So then we were walking back to the car. We're meeting up with all the other people that we're out picking with. And the daughter of the lady comes out. She's like, "You guys want some more cards?" And me and Carrie look at each other and we're like, "Yeah." We we are in the middle of nowhere, bro. Like we are like 5-6 miles off of 127 in the backwoods in Tennessee. And she just drops this shoebox on a table, and me and Carrie are like on like one knee, like looking through this box, and it's like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Sonny Jurgensen, Johnny Unitas, like, and we did like a draft, and we just kind of like split it up, and it was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was like $20, $20-$40.
What?
Yeah.
Did you get the Hank Aaron?
Yeah, I got the Hank Aaron. The Hank Aaron was
Nice.
busted. Oh, you know what? I might have it in this box right here with my vintage stuff to go grading. But yeah, I got a Hank Aaron out of it. I got a very nice Johnny Unitas.
That's cool.
A Willie Mays, and then I got a Brooks Robinson for my PC. So yeah, stuff like that like happens too. Like, you know, like it's crazy. And that's kind of like where like why I started kind of like spreading my wings into selling everything, because it like then it doesn't matter where you put me, like I can find something to flip for a profit.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Freaking bucket.
So Tim, I mean, we know the reselling community is like crazy now, especially like post COVID. Are there any like collaborations or networks that you're a part of that like help you like expand your reach?
I mean, a lot of it is just like I'm a real dude, right? Straight up, straight shooter, no bull.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, but at the same time, like I'm a people person. So like that helps me a lot because like people know that I'm honest guy and like I think that there's so much opportunity out there that everybody can win. So like that's helped me build a lot of relationships. I mean, through YouTube, I'm that's how I met most of like my friends and community in reselling. And then like it's kind of interesting because with the cards thing, it was a bit different. Like because like there was nobody really doing cards that was like resellers. There was like during COVID, it was like a big thing because people were flipping retail.
Yeah.
Like I was in line at 6 a.m., bro. Like let me tell this the thing that's crazy is like I was in sports cars heavy back in the day. That's like I was 9 years old. I was flipping Shaq. I was flipping those cars. Like I was like, that's what I did. But I was a sports junkie my whole life. But like I didn't stop doing cards when I was in like high school because like I was in middle school, like even pretty much kind of like that's kind of when like we all realized we weren't going to be millionaires off of the 90s cards. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like, and then I got into like skateboarding, and then like I was playing sports. Like I was a all athlete all year round. So I played football, basketball, baseball. Like all year round, I had a sport I was playing. So that just kind of like died. The hobby died for me during that time frame. Fast forward a few years later, I found Gary Vee, and like I was watching Gary Vee before Gary Vee blew up. And so like I was like, this dude is on. Like I resonated with Gary Vee. Like everything that he did, he said, like I just was like, this dude gets it, right? And so like one day I was he started catching steam and like really like blowing up. And like one day he started talking about sports cards, and I was like, I didn't even know they made sports cards still. And so I was like, damn, this is kind of crazy. And so like I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I can use all the knowledge I have about sports and put it into sports cards. And so like I went into a Target and I found a pack of 2020 Panini Contenders draft picks, fat pack football.
Oh boy.
And I pulled I'm pretty sure it was 2020. I pulled a Laviska Shenault numbered to 5.
Nice. I have one of
those
at my house. If you
and I was like, because like I know I was like Laviska, because at the time Laviska Shenault, in my opinion, he was a dog. Like he was a good player at Colorado.
I thought he was gonna pan out.
Bro, I have a sick Laviska Shenault collection, and so like I still have that card to this day, and like, I didn't even know it was numbered until like a year and a half later. Because when I grew up, the cards weren't numbered. Like you had cards, you had inserts, and you had like holograms. Like that was it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like then I found out it was numbered. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then like having to like relearn the entire hobby was like, it was so wild. And so like that kind of got me into cards. And then there was nobody reselling cards at the time. I didn't realize that there was a huge community of people selling cards. And so like I kind of started doing that. And then like, I met Kerry through reselling originally, but like me and him were just doing cards. Like that was like my guy, like me and him were real tight. And then, my boy Rod, who we started the No Bangers podcast with recently, like, like we're like 3 people that are literally do reselling and cards. That's why we have our content is in separated channels. You know what I'm saying? And then like, then Ivan was watching my YouTube. So I have a lot of YouTube channels. So let me think. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 YouTube channels. Okay.
Do you really?
Yeah, 5 YouTube channels. 2 of them are by myself and 3 are collaboration YouTube channels. Okay. Now, a lot of my content has been on hold for the last like couple of months because I'm having a baby and I've been building an outdoor office in the nursery and everything. So like I literally have 2 terabyte hard drives of content that hasn't even been put out yet. So those 5, I have 5 YouTube channels. I have Over the Years, which is my main picking channel. I have Over the Years Sports, which is my sports card content. I have the Reseller Information Network, which is one of my collaborative channels. We go live every Tuesday morning and we help people resell while we list and pack and ship orders. And then I have Authentic in the Beard, which is our NFC East channel. And then I have the No Banger Sports Car Podcast, which we just launched, and we're almost monetized on that channel already. But Ivan found me on Reseller Information Network, reached out to us,
Yeah.
and that's how I kind of got into this community. That's how I got into Twitter. That's how I found you guys, all the other districts and stuff like that. I owe a lot to Ivan too, because I didn't really know the card world like outside of like my small circle and just like me knowing sports. And so like that's kind of opened my avenue up. And that's kind of how I built that sort of networking thing. But it's really just about finding like-minded people who, in my opinion, like they want to work hard, they're humble, they're respectful, and like they're about making that money, so like that, like you can do all of those things at once. I think people think that you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do this full time, so like I have to be serious about it, you know what I'm saying? Like my bills depend on it, but I can do that and be who I am normally at the same time. So I just think that it's about networking and finding people that are hungry, innovative. Like I'm always trying to, and people who want to learn, because I think that's the biggest thing, is that like you got to have an open mind. There's so many people in this world, especially in like sports cards, that are like stubborn. Like this is how it has to be done, and this and that. Like
it's like me with purple refractors, right, Pop?
Yeah, like it's crazy. So like for me, like I'm always trying to figure out. I tell people this all the time. There's a big difference in this, right? A lot of people are. They do something and then they're getting ready to finish it, and they ask the question. They said, "What's left?" Right?
Yeah.
For me, it's all about what's next, not what's left.
Yeah.
Like that's how I kind of look at things. Like I'm never ready to just like I'm ready for the next challenge. So that's kind of how I like link up with people these days.
Okay, cool. Well, like all right. So there's a lot of people, and ourselves included, that like struggle making that jump to full time. What advice would you give those people that like they're eventually want to go full time with their, let's say, like their hobby that they start? Like me and Pop do this as a hobby, obviously. What advice would you give to somebody wanting to make that leap?
Well, there's a couple of things that are super important. The first thing is do you love it? Do you love it? Not do you like it? Not are you having fun? Do you love it? Because when one of the biggest misconceptions is like, oh, when I'm gonna do this full time, right? I'm gonna have so much more time on my hands. I'm not working 9 to 5. That's the biggest misconception in the world, bro. Like I work all the time, right? Like my phone is like it. Like if you didn't know, if I was wearing a suit and I was walking down the street in DC, people would think that like I worked for Congress or I worked in I was a hedge fund guy. The way my phone be going bing bong ding 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 ling wing wing, like all the noises thing makes, right? Like I wake up in the morning and I have 7,000 notifications. Like I have 97,000 unread emails on my phone.
That's Poppy on right there.
So like you have to love it. And the second thing is you have to have a great support system. And when I say support system, it's not necessarily like relying on people to do things for you and stuff like that. But like I'm super fortunate that I have my wife. My wife is fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because, it's easy to say, but like legitimately, like all the resellers that I know, if they're not doing it with their partner, then they have the full support of their partner. Because sometimes there's going to be days when I'm just like, I'm defeated, right?
Yeah.
Like, like I got to deal with 5 customers on one thing. I got, technical glitches. This video isn't performing well. Like I still have to do these other things, pack orders, go to the post office. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have a team. Like this for me is a one-man shop. So like having that support of your significant other is super important. The other thing is financially, because as much as I hate to say it, it has to make sense financially for you to go full time. and it's not going to be easy, especially in the beginning. So it's always important to kind of have like a stash of money, because a lot of times what happens is
buffer.
yeah, it's easier to spend money on things like and in the hobby, whether it's sports cards or just reselling in general, when you have a steady check coming in, right? Because you have a job, so you have a check, so that money's coming in.
Money's coming next week. It's
Exactly.
Like,
so like when so when you don't have that, like you have to be a lot more cautious of how you spend your capital, and like that's the big thing. It's like, you can't, if you want to, you can't tie all your capital up into one thing, and then you have business expenses and all that stuff kind of adds up, and it's like a cycle. And so that's why like you have to have multiple avenues of income. Like reselling isn't, and that's what goes back to people who are stubborn. Reselling isn't just buying low, selling high, listed on eBay. I sell on like 10 platforms, bro. I was live selling before live selling was live selling. If you look at my original my picking YouTube channel, I was running glass auctions through YouTube like 7 years ago, where I would hold the item up on my YouTube live, and then I would show a card that had a number on it, and then I would remove, or I would have a price on it. Then I would remove the post-it note and there'd be a number. The first person that put that number in a chat won that item. And then I would pack up all their orders. I'd send them an invoice with shipping. They'd pay on PayPal, and I send it out. And then like I got on Whatnot because I saw Whatnot on Pat McAfee show. I was watching the the spinoff of the Pat McAfee show. What was it called? It was called The Boys. There was like other guys.
I'm not familiar.
So all the other people who like are on the Pat McAfee show, they used to do a side podcast show that aired once a week, pre-recorded. And they were opening up 2021 Mosaic, I think. And I was like, what is this? They're live selling on an app? So immediately I went in, I dug in and started doing my research. At that time, it was just like Funko Pops and like sports cards. I got in selling vintage clothing on Whatnot originally. Yeah. And I was running shows, and there was nobody else running shows vintage clothing at the time. And so like I got in on that early. And so I saw the rise and fall of Whatnot from like the beginning until now, right?
Yeah.
And so like, and then I just coming into district and seeing this, and like you can ask anybody, like I've been preaching this, and like you guys know. Every time I get a chance, if I have an opportunity to shout people out, I shout you guys out. I shout out, the women's soccer district, all these different districts that I work with, right? I shout them out. Like some people might be like, why, right? Like you have your own district, you have multiple districts. Yeah, I do, but like there's so much out here where everybody can eat, and then, like these people are putting in work and they're building a community and a foundation. Like that is not, you're never going to find anything remotely close to that on Whatnot or any other of these live selling platforms. So like for me, I think it's the wave, it's the new future. And so like I found a home here. Now it's kind of crazy to think about how far live selling's come. And then you heard the news about Probstein, right?
No. What
you didn't hear?
What is he up to?
He's leaving eBay. They're taking.
Oh, no, I did read that.
And he's starting his own. Platform.
Oh, he's starting his own.
He's starting his own platform.
Okay, I call him Problem Stein.
Yeah. So, so like he started their own. He's starting his own platform, but they're going with a more of like a Amazon FBA sort of approach, where the live sellers sell all their cards, and then they ship the entire shipment from the live to them, and then they ship it out to the buyers. So it's an interesting concept, but to see it come to fruition is going to be kind of interesting. And he's going to be very bougie with it too. So it's like, but like it's just interesting to kind of hear him, the way that he talked about it. He was like, in the business world, we call this the Fiverr. And it's like, the 5-year period of live selling. It's the first 5 years, and everybody else after the first 5 years are the ones that do all the innovation. I'm like I'm in the shed packing orders, yelling at the screen like, bro, I've been doing this for 7 years. What are you talking about? But no,
we're already in the next fiver.
So it's fun to watch the evolution, and I think the biggest thing too is if you want to get into full-time reselling, you need to be able to adjust and adapt. Bottom line.
Yeah.
If you can't adjust and adapt, you're gonna be crawling back to your 9 to 5 very fast.
Yeah, I mean, I know. So, like in the sports car world, I know a lot of people get caught up on like making money on a card. Are there times like with your flips that you just got to take a loss, or like you move something sideways and just be done with it?
I mean, that happens, and you do a lot of live selling. Like I do a lot of live selling, so like. But I don't necessarily take losses because I make my money in the buy. Yeah. That's the big difference, right? Like, and like, that's what that's why our podcast is called No Bangers, right? While all these other people are walking around trying to buy at 85%, to sell at 90%, like, bro, like that's not how, in my opinion, you have to have an insane amount of capital. And I see this at local shows too, like
people buying out tables.
Like all the time. But like I do the dirty work. I do what nobody else wants to do. They think that it's not sexy. B, they don't got the work ethic. C, they don't know as much as they think they do. So it's like they only know the downtowns, the kabooms, the national treasures, right? They don't know the small case hits. They don't know the Zaire Hope super short print pearl refractors that get thrown in the $2 box, right?
Yeah.
Like I dig through when I get home from a show. I go to a card show every weekend, right? When I get home from a card show, I take every single card, put it on the table, I re-sleeve, recase it all, and then I count how many cards. I count how much money I spent, and then I come up with a cost per card average.
Yeah.
So like my goal is every time I come home from a card show to be under $3 per card. That way, worst case scenario, I lose $1 or I break even, right?
Yeah.
I never lose face.
So you don't have to worry about those times where like because like
I ain't buy one Luka cards. I ain't buy one Luka. I ain't buy one Trey. I ain't do none of that. No, hell no. This is the thing too, is that like I do the research, right? Like everybody wants to buy what they're being told to buy, right? And you know this because we talk about this with Bowman. Bro, how long ago was I talking? Did me and you have a conversation about Roman Anthony?
Yeah.
Look at what Roman Anthony cards are doing right now.
It's nuts.
But was Roman Anthony the guy that everybody was talking about when that product came out? No. Christian Campbell.
Campbell's even crazier.
Let me tell you, I'm getting fried in the. I don't know if you guys saw my latest video, but I was at a show in Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. I found not one, but 2 Christian Campbell first Bowman autos in a box. And
that's
each one had a price. Yeah. Each one of them. Nobody else was looking through those boxes because they're all looking at the showcases.
Yeah.
Each one had a price tag of $20 on it. And my natural instinct is like, this is what I do for a living. I took them up to the guy and I was like, you got $20 on each. Will you take 30 for the pair? And he's like, yeah, sure. Man, they fried me in the comment section. They're like, your sleazeball flea market antics shouldn't be used on first Bowman autos of Christian Campbell. And I'm like, man. So yeah, I got 2 Christian Campbell first Bowman autos for $30. And I sold them immediately for $110 and $100. And that was like 2 months ago. So I mean, obviously they're like 150, 180 right now, but
yeah, they're doing last sale on a base was 190 yesterday.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's like that's the gamble that I don't do, right? Like I could have held one. I thought about holding one and just flipping one. But like the thing is like people are always like, oh, I sold that card too early, right? And Kerry
Yeah.
says this. It's one of the best things I think that he says. He's like, you never lose money that you're making, basically, right? Like,
yeah.
if I buy something for $10 and I sell it for $50, and 2, 3, 4 months down the road, it's $80. I'm not losing out on $70. I made
Yeah,
$40.
Especially
Right?
like when you're doing what you guys do, and when you're reselling all the time, that money that you made is now being used to make you more
Yeah.
money. So it's
Yeah.
like
You never
And
you
plus-
never lose if you sell in the profit, right? You
Yeah,
lose if you
exactly.
don't sell, though.
Yeah.
Well, how many people lost money on Wander Franco? He was gonna have. I mean, I got a
got
box
two
of
hands
Wander
up.
Francos and Henry Ruggs.
I sold.
Right?
I sold.
Accountability.
I sold all my Wanders about 3 months before the news.
Oh, and I was holding out. I'm not gonna lie, and that's you learn, right?
Dude, I was
Because-
buying a National 22. I was buying, like, I wouldn't say I was buying heavy. Heavy for me, Pop knows, because I was at the dealers and I was making deals from Wander Autos. And, bro, what's crazy is I sold all of them on eBay. People still buy them for whatever reason. Yeah, I took an insane L.
Yeah, I mean,
Huge
listen,
L.
he was having an MVP caliber start to that year too. People forget about that.
man. Dude,
Like-
the ball toss.
Oh my god,
The swag, bro.
Oh.
The home run he hit where he blew the bubble gum, and
Yeah,
it was,
And
it
see,
was
that's-
basically a poster.
just like that can happen, right?
Superstar level, yeah. And then
So
gone.
so it's like that's why for me I'm more of burn and turn. And like now
Yeah.
like I'm big in baseball because for me baseball provides the best value. There's a larger pool of profit in baseball cards than there is any other sport, right?
yeah,
Football, it's like if you're not the top 5 quarterback or the new shiny rookie, you just don't you're not in demand.
Yeah.
Maybe a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson, right? But like when I was growing up, if you were an all-star or a Pro Bowl player, you were a guy. Now that
not
doesn't
anymore.
hold the same weight. You could be the defensive rookie of the year and your silver prism sells for $2.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To me, that doesn't make sense. And that's one of the things that I hope I would like to see change in the hobby. One of the things I'd like to see change in the hobby was pitchers getting more love. I think Paul Skeens has helped that a lot. You know, I think that
Strider first and then Skeens next. I mean,
Yeah.
we're starting to see like pitchers
And
get a
so-
little more love.
and like that's why I got into women's soccer. Shout out to Mike Shamrock Cards. One of the nicest dudes I've met in the hobby so far, right? I
Yeah.
saw his passion for the sport and his passion for that hobby, and I got sucked in, bro. And I love it. I got a dope team here in DC, the Washington Spirit, Trinity Rodman, Corey Bethune. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the best young players in all of the sport are here in my hometown city, right? And there's such a dope market for those cards. And like it's kind of untapped. Like there's nobody's at the card show looking for soccer cards. When we were at National, me and Carrie went to the soccer national show outside of National. My mind was blown away, bro. That was a whole nother world. A whole nother
Yeah.
world. Like I walked in there and I was like, holy, I don't know what's going on here. But y'all thought they was doing big numbers in football. Y'all been talking about the wrong
Yeah.
football because man, them
That's
soccer
like,
cards.
dude, that's like Formula One. When we discovered
Yeah.
the Formula One market, bro, it's still like crazy.
Yeah,
Like, there's
Enzo.
some
Remember at National we went
different
to
money.
that private sale.
Yeah. We went to this guy's table. He had a case full of like 2020 Topps Chrome F1, red refractor autos, super fractors. And I was like, I saw no cone, and that's who IPC. I have almost pretty much the whole rainbow. So I asked him about it. He's like, oh, this is actually a sale we're running on eBay next month. And it's like a month-long thing or whatever. And I was like, bro, I have no chance. I literally told him, I was like, bro, yeah, there's somebody out there that's got way deeper pockets than me looking for that card, man.
For real.
But
I
like,
was really
and
hoping we could cut a deal here.
there's so much stuff that's like that though. Like, I mean, y'all know I know nothing about Marvel, right? But
Yeah.
I started watching y'all do it, and I was like, I got intrigued. I started learning a little bit more, and then you saw that Hobgoblin Gold Seismic. I got that in a $2 box.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I go through these boxes. I will look through probably 20 to 50,000 cards on average on a weekend. right? Like, no problem. Like, that's how crazy it is. But if I see shiny, if I see numbered, if I see something that looks like, I've seen so many cards that I know an image variation without variation.
Yeah,
Right?
oh, yeah.
Sometimes I mess up though, and I get home and I'm like, that's not a variation. I just,
Yeah, it can happen. Sometimes,
but
because sometimes the base image looks really cool, and it's just like,
yeah. So
thought
like
this was
there's a lot of like untapped markets out there. I've been itching to get my hands on some PWHL. But
Yeah.
like that, it's so hard
stuff's
to find.
expensive.
So
Yeah.
it's I saw
In
like
demand.
a few boxes on eBay, but man, they were going for crazy money, bro. But there's a lot of stuff out there. You just don't just focus on the what they're telling you to buy, and don't just like those sort of things. There's a lot more out there.
Awesome, man. Well, we finish every episode of Shake and Break with the Enzo hobby question of the day. It's kind of like Papa's question, but way less crazy. So my question for each of you gentlemen.
I have to listen this time because I dropped the ball on Pop's question.
All right. So here it is. If you this is purely for selling for profit. If you could only buy and sell one player's cards in the hobby, who would it be and why?
For forever.
Forever. And I know it might not be like an optimal thing, but just think like who do you think is going to hold that value to be able to do this?
Jackie Robinson.
Good answer.
It's a good answer for sure. Pop, what about you?
I think it's obviously recency bias, but I think it's Ohtani. Just
Ohtani's not a bad answer.
international market.
Yeah.
A talent that we may or may not never see as far as somebody that can pitch and hit at this level.
Dude, he might be the best baseball player ever when it's all said and done.
Best athlete. Like he's got to be considered one of the best athletes. I think that's a really good answer because, like for me, I like because I'm a vintage guy. I like the historical aspect of it, right? But like you know how most people they say don't invest in modern cards.
Yeah.
I think when you said Ohtani, that made me really think about like how it's so easy to forget how special of a talent he really is. That's a really good answer. I think that he's probably one of those guys. It's just a matter of can you get in at the buy point. People should have been buying him during that gamble scandal.
I think what's interesting with Ohtani compared to when you go to like the historical stuff is that since there's modern, there's such a wide variety.
Yeah.
So there's $3 Ohtani cards that people will still buy because it's Ohtani. And there's also
a base veteran Ohtani, and people will buy it because it's a graded Ohtani.
And then there's the obvious like high end and rookie autos and craziness,
Topps Chrome variations.
Yeah, but
that's a good answer.
To your point about modern before, sorry, Enzo. To your point about the modern versus like vintage, I agree in the general sense. Like you shouldn't be investing long term in modern. Modern should be a very like day trading almost. But the exception to me is like generational talents. And buying a generational talent, like I think football, the only one right now at this moment is Mahomes. As far as like that, like we can truly say is on the path to like generation. As far as active NFL players, you go baseball, you got Ohtani. You go basketball, you have LeBron at the tail end of his career, and then Wemby, but it's too early to even go there yet.
Yeah.
But it's just like a handful of players that I think like can actually be lasting in the hobby.
Tiger Woods.
Yep. perfect
Tiger Woods
example.
for sure.
All right,
I'd say
Enzo,
for
what
me,
you got?
like safest bet is probably just Jordan. Even if it's like the junk wax stuff, it still moves, bro. People still buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can you can do that for a long time.
There is
I
nothing
presume.
like a dope 90s insert Jordan.
Yeah, like a holographic. I remember my dad, dude, when I got into cars, he like, he did the whole, oh man, you should see what I have, man. It's probably worth thousands. I'm like, oh boy. So he gives me these like huge boxes. I go through them. I found maybe like 3 cars. One of them was the Upper Deck baseball Chicago White Sox Jordan card. UD
Electric
Choice.
Diamond.
It's just the base, the white border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, Dad, this is probably your most valuable car. He's like, oh, it's got to be worth hundreds. I was like, dude, it's like $20. But the fact that a junk wax car is $20, I think is pretty good. Like, and that's what I told him. I'm like, look, you have to understand, Dad, they've made millions of this card. And on top of that, that set is like it aged very well. Like the cards are still very white. They didn't fade.
Yeah.
The corners are still very sharp. So, yeah,
I see a lot of people talking about Cooper DeJean in the chat. I give you one more real quick before we leave. This weekend I found a Cooper DeJean Red Pandora optic preview in the dollar box. $1. Yeah. I sold it yesterday for $35, I think. Yeah. So
that's still super affordable for who should have been the Super Bowl MVP, but that's a talk for another time.
I love
kidding.
You guys.
But you can make the case for sure. You make the case. All right. So before we close up shop here, Tim, where can all of our listeners find you online? I know you talked about the YouTube channels. Are you anywhere else? Are your podcasts on any specific platforms?
No, I mean, most of I'm on Twitter, Tim Walk on Water 2, because I had an original Twitter account like 20 years ago, and I could not remember what my password was, and the email it was linked to was an email that didn't exist anymore.
Now
so I had to go
your old profile.
Yeah. So Tim Walk on Water 2 on Twitter, on Instagram, Over the Years Sports, Over the Years Collecting, Over the Years eBay. I got all of those, and then YouTube, Over the Years Sports, Over the Years. The new podcast, No Bangers Sports Card Podcast. You guys are actually on our list, so we're hoping to get you guys on for an episode.
Yeah.
Super excited about that.
Little home and home,
yeah, home and home action.
So yeah, we actually just we filmed a couple of episodes, dated, because I'm about to have a baby, so we need an episode to drop when the baby comes. We just had Gaby Card Stacks on, which was super fascinating. He's a great guy, and I donned him the Van Wilder of the hobby. The only people I've seen with more Bowman view bangers is you guys. I mean, Jesus Christ, you guys have been. I feel like every time I open Instagram, putting some crazy ass Bowman view card on Instagram.
Bro, we were on a heater for a while. Dude, I had a week where I just could not pull a 1-of-1 Bowman view auto. It was awesome.
No, but yeah, so that's pretty much where you guys can find me right now. And I'll be doing a bunch of content and stuff like that. But I just want to say before we sign off and everything like that, like how grateful I am of you two guys. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal to me. You guys have always been open arms, very accessible, very honest. I love being able to meet you guys in person at National. And I truly believe in what you guys are doing. I think you guys have the right idea, and you guys are being yourselves while doing it, and you guys know I appreciate that. So thank you for having me on and kicking it with you guys. I know we could literally do like 3 hours together, but yeah, I just want to make sure I just want to make sure you guys know I do appreciate you.
We appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on and just being you, bro. It's awesome to have you in chat.
No, it really is, and excited to see you again. You national again this year?
Oh yeah. We'll be in Chicago. We're hoping for some bigger. And last year we had the media passes, which was absolutely bonkers. I gotta. I'll send. You guys saw the video of me doing the cool runnings. With the guys. Yeah, yeah. So like this year, bigger and better. We're still working on that, but I think it's gonna be something very exciting in the works. So yeah,
Awesome.
we're excited for national.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, as always, let us know how we can support.
Yeah.
We love your steez. We love what you do, what you stand for, except for your favorite football team. But I love you, brother.
I'm cool with it. Just admit it. I'm cool with it. Left hand up.
Oh man, thank you so much for joining. Everybody that is watching live, we really appreciate you guys hanging out. We are going to be rescheduling with 606. He's gonna do it another night because we had too much fun here with Tim. We couldn't kick him off. So
Oh man, my bad, guys. I talk a lot. I'm so sorry. I feel awful now.
No, so honestly, it was actually my snafu. I was supposed to move our podcast to 8, and then I was like, oh, you know what? We'll figure it out. And then I looked down at the clock about 10 minutes ago, and I was like, oh.
Listen, I've been known to talk a lot, so I apologize.
You're good, bro.
No, bro, it's all love. We appreciate you. Thank you again, not only for joining us, but for being the person that you are and being a part of this hobby community. We love you. Thank you guys for joining. And until next time, No Flow Nation.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. I've always wanted to do that.
I saw the excitement in your face. I was like, oh, he's excited.
You saw that, right? That's got real close to the mic.
Oh, man. Well, Tim, thanks for joining. Everyone that's watching live, we will be back on Thursday for No Flow Night Show. Tons of breaks up in the shop. And then Friday, we have our Pokemon stream. New stock there. We have the 151 booster bundle packs. And then we also have Chilling Reign and Lost Origin, which are both Sword and Shield. And then we have Stellar Crown again. So definitely take a look. Take a look in the Discord. We have some info about the sets that we're opening so you guys can see what the chase cards are, see what the prices go for, and kind of decide which way you guys want to attack it. And then, Thursday night, full night of breaks. Friday, Pokemon. Saturday, crazy No Flow Night Show, as always. We appreciate you guys. We love you. And let's ride.